Hey everybody, I want to point out something before this video goes on about what happened in DC. Remick Malek was trained by the US Senate, US and CIA back then in Afghanistan. You can see pictures of him doing this coming up behind the National Guard. Okay? Like this. Duck down like this, coming up behind him. Okay, that's basic training for anybody in the army. You have your gun like this, so when you get ready, you can. Okay, you see the alignment? You point right at your target where you want. Okay? If you see some videos of showing it and everything. He drove from Washington State to DC. He was over here for 5 years. So when they left Afghanistan, they took some of the Afghanistan people they trained and everything and brought them over here to the United States. He was over here for 5 years. I'm not sure if it was a part of Afghanistan's way of getting into the United States or the training from the CIA. But if you understand, the CIA has been responsible for a bunch of people's assassinations. J.F. Kennedy, Martin Luther King, attempted assassination not once but 3 times on Donald Trump's life. Yeah, because I'm being conspiracy, I'm being whack job. No, it's been true. If you look at it, yeah, it's been true. I'm going to show you the video here, and a lot more videos coming up too. So enjoy.
Man, I recall that video distinctly, okay? And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys do as well. But a lot of people forgot. If you guys don't recognize that video, it was all over Twitter around 2020 when the US pulled out of Afghanistan. Now, obviously, a lot of Americans were happy about it because a lot of Americans, from what I can tell, don't agree with the war in Afghanistan or US troops being in there in the first place, right? But when they exited, it was so chaotic, bro. I'm talking, I think the last plane started leaving, and that's when you see the horde of people pull up to the plane and start getting on top of it. And what happens? Obviously, we can't show you on YouTube. You could do a quick little Twitter search. People ride the plane into the air and fall off that motherfucker, bro. It was. I mean, it still stays in my psyche to this day. I still think about it sometimes. Like, damn, what a way to die. You know what I'm saying? But listen, there were a few things that I think happened during that exodus that we did wrong. Obviously, the machinery, the extra weapons, the vehicles, the Taliban get to use it now, right? I don't think that was the biggest fumble the United States did. There was a certain program where the US and the Afghanistan CIA basically work together so that there's communication. They work together, they fight terrorism, they do all that in conjunction with one another. The US does this with Mexico, Afghanistan, with any country really that you want to work alongside with to fix a problem. There was a man, and I'm sure everybody's seen the news, everybody's seen the headlines. There was a man named Ramanullah Lockenwell. I'm sorry if I said it wrong, but that was the name. This man was a part of that program. He was a part. Even his bio, let me pull it up. Even his bio said, Field Coordinator, Eastern Region, International Rescue Committee, over 11 years of experience and humanitarian aid worker dedicated to providing critical assistance to communities in crisis in Afghanistan. Extensive track record and delivering essential relief, coordinating relief efforts, and advocating for the vulnerable populations in the aftermath of disasters and conflicts. This man was a part of the CIA's program, and when the US left, they also took along some of the Afghan personnel, and that includes Lockenwell. Now, fast forward some years later, in 2025, and we have this man shooting at and hitting National Guards in front of Washington, D.C. It is one of the biggest stories on the internet right now for good reason, because it's the Afghanistan guy who lost his mind and decided to shoot everybody. Now, there are some key facts about this situation that I want to point out. We already know that he worked with alongside the U.S., right? Also, it turns out that he drove from Washington State to the Capitol in order to do this. And this is the main thing that I want to talk about today because, you know, everybody's going to scream out terrorist this, terrorist that. It was his plan the whole time. I'm not so sure about that because the way everything about this guy seemed, it seemed like he was trying to help the world. And I feel like something radicalized them within this country. I'm not sure if it was, I don't know what it was. I'll let you guys shoot it off in the comments to what you think happened. But I think something changed. And he decided to have a mission, a life's mission, to go and shoot these National Guard people to make a statement. But anyways, let's go ahead and check out some footage, and then we'll go to the actual crime scene and break a few more things down. But before we move on, the whole reason I showed that video with the people falling off the plane and the people, you know, all that craziness that took place when the U.S. was exiting Afghanistan, I do think that might have somewhat of a role in his reasoning. For the first time in a long time, he's not dead. They didn't kill him. So I'm very interested to find out what his reasoning was. But let's check this out. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is what you would call a broken rib. If you notice, there's a divot right here compared to the other side of my body. Those are two inwardly bent broken ribs, and they could have been normal. But why aren't they? So I was a lot younger at the time, and I was really into BMX. Long story short, I'm on my way home, and a car from behind me is coming so fast to where he runs me off the road. I fall, I crash, and I break my ribs up. Now, me and my family could have taken legal action, but what goes into everybody's mind the second they think about legal action? It's going to be too expensive. And this is why, ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring up the biggest injury law firm in the United States, Morgan & Morgan. They will take your case, and they will only pay themselves if you win and you get paid out. $25 billion and 500,000 clients is a lot of money. And that's how much accumulative money they have won over the years. This is why they can afford to have you come in and they only get paid if you win. If you have ever been injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. And you could do that by clicking the link below or check out the QR code that we're about to put up right here. And you could get your claim started today. I'm so thankful for Morgan & Morgan and the sponsorship. Shout them out. And let's get back to this video.
Important new information this afternoon on how the attack played out. We're going to get to what Jeanine Pirro said about that in just a second. But first, we have access here that we have not had before to the actual spot where the shooting occurred. I'm standing at the spot right now. And if you come over here with me, our photojournalist Jay McMichael and I are going to walk you over here. This area here, excuse me, ma'am, this is the bus shelter where, according to officials, at least one of the guardsmen tried to take cover at, and you can see that a plexiglass panel here has been shot out. You can see the fragmented glass up there. This panel is gone, and I'm going to walk you over here to this planter. It appears here that there is a bullet hole here that entered here and exited here of this planter. There's another planter over here. Jay's going to shoot you a close-up of that, and there's another planter here where this part has been removed. I'm going to walk you over here to show you that part of the planter that was removed. And in the meantime, you see a makeshift memorial here to the victims, people laying flowers and an American flag. Over here is a part of that panel that was actually removed, and you can see additional bullet holes here, one here, one here. And this looks like some evidence that was handled by authorities as they started to process the scene last evening.
And this is my situation. It feels like something snapped within him, and he wanted to get revenge by just making, I don't know if the National Guard did something to him or his family, or he has past experiences with them, but this seems like something he was just going to shoot somebody at random, make sure it's the National Guard at least, make sure it's close to Washington, D.C., and I don't know, maybe just die at the end, maybe just suicide at the end, but the plan didn't work out as well. Now, before we even move on, we have to say rest in peace to the people who got shot. So far, 2 people were hit, 2 were critically injured. 1 over the past couple of hours has died. So we gotta move on to the actual National Guards affected by this. So the BBC just posted this about 5 hours ago at the time of this recording, and they said one of the 2 members of the National Guard who were shot in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday has died, U.S. President Donald Trump said. Sarah Beckstorm, 20. Damn, bro. Sarah Beckstorm, 20, died from her injuries while the second National Guard member, 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, is fighting for his life. Trump said everything Thursday evening. I'm sorry, Trump said on Thursday evening. Both were shot at close range near the Farragut Square in downtown DC just after 1400 EST, 1900 GMT on Wednesday. Police arrested one suspect in the shooting, Ramula Lakanwal. I think that's it, Lakanwal, a 29-year-old from Afghanistan. And I mean, that's crazy. It's like, why would you even do that? You know what I'm saying? And this is another statistic that I saw the news anchors kind of running with. They're saying that people from Afghanistan, like nationals from Afghanistan and people who come into the country from that region, typically are quiet and don't commit crimes to a high degree. You know what I'm saying? So this gives me a feeling, man. I don't want to be Mr. Conspiracy Theorist, so I'm gonna give you my opinion. And it might be wrong, it might be right, but it feels like the drastic change in his behavior after being here for 5 years, it could have been planned, it could have been a master manipulation tactic, but I think someone got to him. I think someone had him compromised. You know, a lot of people in the world, they have, everybody, they have a certain point. They have a certain breaking point, bro. And if you're able to get into their ear, I forgot who said this, but basically if you're able to rationalize with that person the actions that they do for a better cause, you could damn near get them to do anything. I'm not sure who said that, but it was definitely someone who said that. And it's true. The moment you can get someone to rationalize, you know, blowing up a police station or doing war crimes or just doing anything like that, whenever you can get someone to be like, you have to do this because the greater good counts on it, that's when people turn into these you know, vested bombers and shooters and all the bullshit we get to see in the United States. Now again, that's just my theory. This could have just been his plan the whole time, but it seems to me that he was compromised. The man drove from Washington State, gang, to Washington, D.C. to just open fire at the National Guard. I feel like there's something deeper to this story. But without get past me yapping and all the extra stuff, let's get to the actual scene of what happened. Obviously, I can't show you everything, but mainly aftermath is what I can show you. If you want to see, like, you know, full on, you know, video and all that, just go to Twitter. Let's check this out. So this is them apparently taking the shooter to the ambulance. It says, piece of shit shooter, and video showing the aftermath of the DC shooting. All National Guard members deployed to cities must now be allowed to carry fully loaded weapons. You might as well paint a target on them. If this was targeted, we must change the rules of engagement. Everybody must be deputized as a U.S. Marshal and therefore be allowed to carry loaded weapons and authorized to use deadly force. Now, that's that person's opinion. But trust me, guys, behind closed doors, the U.S. is on high alert right now. Because this shit, it's targeted, guys. I'm just going to say it out. This is not random. This is not him losing his mind. Somebody said, and he was like, oh yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. That's what I genuinely believe happened. This is another view. They're taking him down, and he had already shot a bunch of shots out already. That broken glass right there, like the reporter said, that's from him shooting. Got a National Guard here. No sound, unfortunately, so I'm just going to narrate a little bit. And I think there's one person laid down from being shot, like right next to him. Wait, is there sound? Oh, there is sound. Imagine seeing that shit. You're just at work, kind of vibing out. Imagine seeing that shit, bro. That was pretty much it, man. Everybody in a frenzy, but I will say they didn't seem like they were freaking out too crazy. They were getting to work. They were moving quick. They were getting to work. This was a little bit during the shootout that they had, and trust me, the National Guard fired back. He's lucky he didn't die, and I'm grateful that he didn't die as well. Because now you get to suffer a little bit, gang. You know, there's always the people in the hotel, or you know, they do the shooting or they kill their family, and then they end it for themselves. Nah, be a man. You know what I'm saying? Toughen up, little man. You know what I'm saying? You did it. Now go face that shit. Come on now. Don't quit halfway. So again, I'm happy they didn't kill him because, yeah, I'm very happy that didn't happen. This is another clip right here. This is when they're getting fired on. You see one run back, shots coming in, and then they turn back around and start blasting. You know what I'm saying? It's man, it's a crazy place, the United States, gang. I will say it is a crazy place, the United States. Now, here we go. Let's dig into the conspiracy, folks, because I don't like to post conspiracy theories because I have a lot of them, and you know, sometimes they pan out, sometimes they don't. But this is too much to avoid, too much to ignore, and if there's somebody in the comments, please give me an explanation for this, something that would make it reasonable as to why this happened before the assassination attempts. Explain to me how this could happen, right? Now, I'm a YouTuber. I love my job, by the way. I love you guys. Shout out my subscribers, man. You guys are top tier. Anyways, I'm a YouTuber, and sometimes when I'm searching through topics, I get a gauge on it through Google. For example, Sarah Boone. How popular is the Sarah Boone topic right now? You type that in Google, you find the you find the interest bar. I forgot what it's called, but it basically shows you internet traffic in what people are using on Google. So you could see how many people want to see Sarah Boone. And if the graph is like that, you should probably post a video. If the graph is flat and there's nothing there, you probably shouldn't post the video because nobody gives a fuck. The name Ramula Lockenwell, and that's not James Smith. You know what I mean? That's not Michael Smith or you know, that is a very distinct name from a different country. That name was searched in Washington, D.C. area on November 20th. That's it. That's all I got for you. That's all I got for you. Take that with what you will. The time of recording this is, you know, it's the 28th. The time of the shooting was Wednesday. How does that make sense? Let's go check this out. So this right here is what I was talking about. So you can really figure out what people are looking at by just the traffic on Google. And if we look at this, right? Washington, D.C., past 7 days, November 20th, the name was searched. Now, listen, there's only one explanation that I could possibly give for this. Because he worked with the CIA in the past, they still had his name in their mouths. They still maybe pulled up his files, searched them up on Google real quick to confirm something. That is the only explanation I could figure out. But what everybody else is going to run with, which is what I'm it's kind of fishy to me, how is there's no activity around this man's name? There's zero activity around this man's name until November 19th. Then then there becomes spikes of his name, and then the name is released publicly, and then everybody's searching the name. What were they doing searching the name? November 20th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Searched his name twice. Listen, we're going to keep our eyes on this story like a hawk because something's not adding up. You know, I'm not the smartest person on the planet, but to me, to my Neanderthal brain, this shit don't make sense to me. But you guys, you know, comment away. Give me your opinions. What do you think about this? Do you think he was just a terrorist his entire, you know, he always wanted to be a terrorist? Or do you think something radically happened to him that changed him for the worst? And I just broke my pinch. Fuck. Damn. Do you think something radically happened to him that changed him for the worse? Because this, first of all, driving across the country just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you would have had a hotel or a plan already. It seems like somebody whispered something into his ears, put him on a trajectory, and he said, fuck it, let's do it. Like, immediately, fuck it, let's do it. Let's go, let's get it done, you know, for the greater good. But shit, you guys let me know what you think, man. I love you guys. I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And don't spend too much money on Black Friday, folks. You feel me? I'll see you later, man. Peace.
What's up, squad? Back with another video. Y'all see it in the title. What's going down? Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it in the title. Got here, Texas Democrat, Jasmine Crockett, says here is drawing sharp criticism for comments like federal intervention in urban areas to slave patrols. Definitely sickening. Definitely sickening. Before we get in this video, definitely want to say that I truly appreciate y'all and much love to every single last one of y'all. You know, the things that y'all do, sharing videos, liking the videos, you know, as this, I ain't gonna say so much of coming to, an end, but, y'all know what I mean. This year has definitely been it's been tough. It's definitely been tough. But one thing about it, we're going to keep on, keep on pushing, keep on staying positive. That goes for, as, our reckless family as a whole. And, the United States, there's been a lot of things happening. I mean, the things that I'm talking about tonight, even, you literally have here, Crockett says here, referred, to the National Guard, as, a slave patrol. Definitely sad. I'm not even going to lie. Definitely sad. Check it out right here.
I'll say it again. Donald Trump's mass deportation system makes me think of what a modern-day slave patrol would look like. Slave patrols were armed groups empowered by the government to control, intimidate, and terrorize people solely based on color. That's what's happening now. Donald Trump is sending mass agents without warrants into communities of color to terrorize the people who live there. And the reason that I want to make sure that I draw out this link, because we heard Maxine say that black and brown is coming together.
One thing about it is that this individual has always been, and it says here, this is Jasmine Crockett 2 days ago. Now there are 2 National Guards that, have been shot, and it's truly sickening.
What she said.
It's truly sickening, the things that she says. She has always have done this, she has done it with President Trump. She has done it with Elon Musk. She's done it with a lot of people. Because she constantly wants that. And when people hear this, what do you think they'll have to do? And I can't, sit there, and honestly, I can, putting this blame on her, but, because people have these actions, but what do you think people are going to do when they listen to, individuals like this? When they hear individuals say things like this, it's definitely sickening. This right here, this is a post by, Judge Janine, says our hearts and prayers go out to the family of 20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom of the National Guard, a hero who volunteered to serve D.C. on Thanksgiving for people she never met and gave the ultimate sacrifice. May she rest in peace. It is now time to avenge her death and secure justice. One thing about it is that, and I truly said this, is definitely sad. Like I've said, being right before Thanksgiving, being right before Christmas, in at all. It should have never been this. And I do love, that President Trump is putting more, National Guard troops, in place, in these places. And what's crazy to me is that people are steady complaining about this. But one thing about it, having National Guard, it literally shows statistically that crime has dropped. But of course, you know, they have this violent, they incite this violence and they say these different things to, you know, take somebody there. And then, or as I'm not going to go too far, you know, and say nothing crazy. But to put somebody, you know, in that situation, y'all know what I mean, to do something so crazy like this. And then, okay, we about to blame President Trump and put it out there. The National Guard, they should have never been there in the first place. I'm telling y'all, it's sickening. It's sickening what these individuals are doing. I truly hate. I truly hate that, you know, the left is pushing this to be out to something that they know, like it's all out there. You know, the statistics show how great, you know, of things are happening for them to be, you know, in these places of this bad crime. It's sad. This right here is Jason Wolf. I'm pretty sure, you know, his family have said, just pray. Let's go off here. Just pray for my family and pray for my son. Jason Wolf asked all prayers for his family and son. National Guard member Andrew Wolf, who was one of the 2 service members shot near the White House by Afghan National. Definitely sad. Definitely sad. Right here, this is the National Guard. This is the person who has done this. Check it out, Fox News.
To show you, you know, he was part of this CIA-backed elite Afghan unit, and this right now shows some details where they operated in Afghanistan, but also the vetting process. Supposedly, they went through biometric screenings, in-person interviews, which is very interesting, and Lochinwall's connection here. He was assigned to this O3 unit, recruited and trained by the CIA to fight against the Taliban. This group, also, wow, Rebecca, known for their brutality and called death squads. So you take that last point there that I just said, right? That they're known as these death squads, quite brutal. And that this man also went through a one-on-one interviews, so we understand. What's your takeaway there? Could something have been missed in that process?
Well, it's very disturbing, and this is such a tragedy. We're going to learn more, but I'm reminded that in 2011, an Afghan Air Force colonel walked into an office at North Kabul Airport and blew up 8 U.S. Air Force service members and a contractor. That was an ally. The risks here are just very, very large, and that's why I'm really glad the president is going to go and look at other cases, and we must keep an eye on this radicalization of Islam and this threat that, frankly, now is inside our borders.
You know, there's been reporting that those who knew the suspect when he was younger say that he had mental health issues because of what he witnessed in Afghanistan. So you got to wonder, without painting all of the people who are here from Afghanistan with one brush, whether or not there are others, though, who could possibly be suffering the same type of issues.
This just goes to show you, people wonder why you make the moves that you make when it comes to ICE. I mean, it's literally all, I mean, right there in front of us. This is exactly why President Trump and the Trump administration is doing what they're doing, for situations like this. I mean, honestly, just listening to this and just, based off of, you know, what happened in Afghanistan, and they're saying that, you know, he had this mental health problem and this, that, and the other. I'm just saying, like, I'm not even trying to be that person that's like, because this person is from a different country and this, that, and the other. And listen, this is exactly why.
Okay, they say he had mental problems. Why none of that picked up in the training then? I'm sorry, but if you had mental problems and you were trained by CIA people, why didn't they pick it up? Here's why they do it. They wanted somebody that was trained, that was emotionally stable, that was betting he'd go in and get killed, so they won't have nothing to be back to them. That's my understanding. Go back to the video. Also, this is one video and this is a separate video on top of that one. Okay? So yeah, enjoy.
Right here. Regardless, this individual has done something that is very disgusting, and now he'll pay for it. Regardless, he'll pay for it. I'm telling you. This right here is Byron Donalds, Fox News. Check it out.
I don't think it's an overstatement to say that every single one of those National Guard troops walking around the city of Washington, D.C., right this second or at 9 o'clock this morning, have actually saved the lives of American citizens in that city?
It's not an overstatement. We had a hearing in the Oversight Committee a couple of months ago, and the mayor of Washington, D.C. said on the record that since the National Guard was deployed by President Trump, crime has dropped 40% in the nation's capital. 40%. Washington, D.C. has not been a safe city for quite some time. When the president was running for office, he said that he was going to make the nation's capital safe again. He deployed the National Guard. Crime plummeted in Washington, D.C. It has been working. But in spite of that fact, you have Democrat officials who have been whining and crying on TV and in any microphone open saying that it was wrong to deploy the Guard. The president is well within his rights to deploy the National Guard because Washington, D.C. is a federal enclave. It is the purview of the federal government, not just a city, not just some state. So the Guard was deployed. Crime has come down drastically. They should be applauded for the work that they've been doing. And now we have two of our National Guardsmen in the hospital fighting for their lives. The Democrats need to do an about-face on this. They need to acknowledge the fact that Donald Trump was right, but bigger than that the National Guard has been a help to securing the nation's capital for everybody.
Exactly. People got to understand that. People got to understand that. Obviously, the left, they do understand that. They're more so of wanting to put out, the lies, want to put out to incite the violence, want to put out, to make Trump administration look horrible. That's what they want to do. That's what they constantly do, and it's definitely sickening. Definitely sickening. This right here is Attorney General Pam Bondi says National Guard members who are choosing to serve during Thanksgiving instead of being with family are our heroes. And truly. I constantly say this, and I constantly say this. This is something that I truly, it's just one of those things, man. Like, and I've had this talk. I think I was talking to Retro Steph. Pretty sure I was talking to Retro Steph. Y'all know who it is. Please go check him out. The Retro Steph and my girl, but probably both. And I was just letting them know, like, just thinking about this. These individuals, they were, obviously very much so of heroes. Not only just being a National Guard, but, going against, the things that's happening in these cities. These cities are definitely bad. And I truly thank, the ones that are, serving, doing anything. My brother served in the military. I know a lot of y'all that's commenting have served, and I thank y'all for y'all service. It's definitely a sad situation seeing this, It's just very sickening. And when it comes to the left, they're definitely, ones to blame. Check it out, fam.
Still a very active, open investigation about this guy coming into our country in 2021 under the Biden administration, of course, from Afghanistan. Very active. I can tell you my National Security Division is involved. Janine Pirro, Kash Patel directly are involved. And we're doing everything we can as fast as we can. ATF has been involved analyzing the gun. They're moving at light speed to make sure justice is served, because these men and women out there on the streets every day are our heroes. I was in Memphis with them on Monday. We were serving them Thanksgiving dinner because they had all chosen to be with Memphis, to keep Memphis safe instead of being with their families. And all the men and women that you're seeing on the screen right now with the National Guard, they had made the same decision, along with Metro Police. President Trump and I were talking all day yesterday. Muriel Bowser called me right away. I've talked to Mayor Bowser multiple times, and the men and women of Metro PD jumped in last night to have the backs of our Guard members who have always had their backs. And yes, President Trump is bringing in 500 more National Guard troops because we will not be taken down by this. We will not be threatened. We will not be intimidated as a country. And we will look out for the great men and women of law enforcement.
There it is. 500 more. 500 more. And it's definitely needed. It's definitely needed. I think the next place that's definitely needed, from what I'm seeing, is Chicago. I don't know what if maybe y'all. I don't really know where y'all from, or whether if it's y'all city that needs it, but. When it comes to Chicago, is definitely a place that National Guard needs to be. It's been a lot of things that's been going down in Chicago alone, but one thing about it is that I do pray for the ones that I pray that that they are going to be okay, that they're going to be all right, and I know it's God, God is with them, each and every one of them. It's just definitely a sad situation. Definitely a sad situation, and I just I sit there and I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it. And I know a lot of y'all have as well. But one thing about it, definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to y'all. Just keep pushing, keep staying positive, and continue to pray. Hit the like button for me. Hit that subscribe button, please. Catch y'all next one.